All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on double standards, right? And going into how Yahweh deals with several things that could be considered double standards, and several things that actually are double standards, right? And he's allowed to do that because he made this world, right? This world and this whole system of how we are in it. He designed it according to how he wanted it to be. The reason why death enters into our world through sin, and why the things that are actually considered sin are sin, is because Yahweh made them be sin. Because they go against the body that he gave us, right? He made it be that way. He could have made a body where it worked a completely different way, but it don't. And even the Edomites, who are the nation of sin, that contain the men and the women of sin, even though they are the men of sin, right? They still don't become immortal through sinning. So Yahweh's even got them rigged. But let's go to this. So I looked up the definition for double standard, and it says this: a double standard is the unfair application of different rules, principles, or standards to similar situations or different groups of people. Now, the Israelites have got a whole bunch of double standards coming our way because we went off and sinned, just like how all you nations have went off and did your thing that you've did, man. All you nations have did all the madness that you've did on this earth, right? But guess what? Not one of you other nations got given a sacrifice for your sins. We got given one. We got Yahweh Shai. That's just double standard right there. Because we got given a sacrifice for our sins. Other nations never got one. You never got one. We got a contract with Yahweh, right? That said that if we sinned, we'd get cursed. Now that's a double standard because you other nations sinned like we did, but you don't get cursed. So that's a double standard, right? Because I've said this before, and it's really true, man. It's a thing that people don't really understand. These Christians, anyway. In a world, right, where everyone's sinning, very much like the world that we live in right now, an Israelite is brought to the bottom, even though everyone else is sinning. That's a double standard. Because Yahweh said to us, if you sin, I'm going to curse you. He never said it to everyone else. Now, alternatively, in a world where everybody was keeping the law, let's say that there was a situation where every single heathen was keeping all the laws as well as we are. Because of the contract that we've been given with Yahweh, we're still going to be the bron that's brought to the top of all people. Now, the other nations was technically end up not dying now because they'd meet the characteristics, bloody hell, man, non-reading ass, non-talking ass, characteristics of what it means to be immortal, right? They don't sin no more, but they would still be below us. They'd still be under us in the hierarchy because it's about whatever Yahweh says it's going to be, man. Right? Now, among the Israelite man and the Israelite woman, guess what? There's double standards there because an Israelite man is allowed to have more than one wife. An Israelite woman is not allowed to have more than one husband at the same time, right? Now, I'm saying at the same time because if a Israelite man and an Israelite woman become husband and wife, right? Well, if the Israelite man should die before his wife, the wife can remarry to another man. So she would have had, in this situation, 2 husbands in her lifetime. And if that second husband is to die, then she could have had another man, which would be now 3 husbands in her lifetime, right? But she's not allowed to have 2 men at the same time openly without being ready to face judgment. She can try and in this world sneak around, and the women have got their coffins. Like I found out about this term, and I used to know about this. I could sense it in my spirit, but there's actually a worldly term for it, man. I think that these men do it too, right? But men can't ever apply any of these kind of rules of the world unless they're like a certain kind of man, as much as women can. But they got this thing called coffin season, right? Which is where they start picking out what man they want to have, and they've made it into a whole thing. It's ridiculous. From August the 1st to like September, they start picking between the options of men that they got in their phone or on their social media about which one they like, right? And then when it gets to September, they start cutting the numbers thinner. When it gets to October, they start really locking into who they want to pick, right? And then they pick it, they do it so that they have a man between like October, and then they get rid of him in February around Valentine's Day. This is actually a thing that women have actually agreed to do in their mind. And if any of you men out there actually really think back now, you'll start to notice that, man, women are always a bit friendlier when it's coming to around winter time, and they always start getting friend up around here, because they know that that's the time where there's a lot of expenditure of money around them times of the year, man, because of this society that we live in, right? And because of the weather and all that, whatever the hell it is, whatever the hell else. But I always used to sense that, man, that women always are way more friendly in this world around the winter time, and it's a whole. I'd heard the coffin season thing before, but it's like they've actually made it a thing though. It's not just some like street term. It's actually a real thing that people actually do, man. Right? But women aren't supposed to be doing that. That's the point I'm making. They're not supposed to be doing none of that. They're actually committing adultery when they do all of this, man. 10 men chasing after one woman. 9 of those men are wasting their time, right? Because they could have really, instead of all them 9 men chasing that one woman, every single one of them men is really supposed to be to have at least one wife minimum. But them men are all chasing after the one woman. No, they should all be being like, okay, that woman's got a man. You know what? That woman's got somebody. I'll get a next woman. Because, like, but really, most of the time, the main thing that men like about the woman anyway is what she looks like. And if you walk down the street, right, and you see a woman that you think, oh, that woman's attractive, it won't even be you won't have to wait more than an hour before you see another woman that you think's attractive as well. You wouldn't even have to wait an hour long. Now, she might not be as attractive as the other woman, but she'll be as attractive. She'll be attractive. Right? That's just the truth of the matter. So women are not as special as this world tries to make them out to be, man, because one thing I noticed about most of these women anyway, they all try and meet a certain image. Like among the so-called white women, the way what they try and make themselves look like to be considered attractive is all the same way. Among the Israelite women, the things that they try and all do to try and make themselves look attractive as Israelite women is all the kind of the same way. And it's very rare that there's a woman of any nation that would be considered attractive among all nations, right? That's not really normal. That's not really a thing that normally happens. There's not really ever really women that are so attractive that they transcend the racial divide of what people consider attractive men. But anyway, forget all that for a second. Let's go back to this. It said common examples, and the only reason I mentioned all that anyway is to go into the double standard, because a man's allowed to have more than one wife. King Solomon had 1,000 wives. You ain't finding a woman in the Bible that's got 1,000 husbands. 999 of those men would be wasting their time. That's a double standard. Yahweh said that the Israelite man can have more than one wife. He has not said that about the women. That's now considered adultery. But the only thing that makes a man having 1,000 wives be adultery is if any of those women were married, or if any of those men are with a man right now, or have been with a man and that man's not alive. If that man's still alive, then that's actually adultery. That's according to the real biblical way of understanding it. Common examples of double standards. Gender. A man may be praised for being sexually active, while a woman with a similar history is condemned or called promiscuous. Now, that's true, right? And it should be that way. I'm gonna keep it real. I think it should be that way, man, because like, yeah, Howard said it's off. And just think of all the disease that can spread from a woman V'ing her legs off all the time, man, out here. Just going on a mad one, man. It's gross. It's gross, man. And the proof that women know that this is a bad thing is because they don't even tell the truth about their body count. They know, even when they try and fake like they're boasting about their body count, they're still shaving off about 25-50% of that. If a woman tries to go on bold, yeah, my body count's 57 and what? It's probably triple figures. More than likely. You ain't going to find too many women that are going to boast about their body count. Like, you've got these two harlots, Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, right? But they are bugged out. They've got heavy demons on it. And you start to see the framework of their mind deteriorate whenever they, like, I saw one of them on a short video on YouTube where she was with some like Edomite with some like French hat on or whatever, and he told her straight to her face, man, I would never date you. And then she started bugging out, yeah, I'd never date you, but she was breaking down inside, crying, tearing down, man. These people they're bugged out. And this is like you Israelite women, when you see these women like this, don't start thinking, oh, this is a competition and that I need to compete with that. No, that's the woman that you are envious of the most, but look at her, she's a loser. The Edomite woman really is actually a loser, man. She's had to have a whole society backing her, lying and making out like she's something. Now, does that mean that also Israelite men are gonna think that no Edomite woman's attractive? If I say that's the case, that would mean I'm a liar, and I don't plan on lying in this video, right? We are still gonna, and in the kingdom, there's gonna be Edomite women that are gonna be concubines, but it's not every single Edomite woman that's gonna be a concubine in the kingdom. It's not gonna be. Like, that's not a thing. Like, the Edomite woman thinking that if the Edomite woman thinks in the kingdom, she's just gonna be sitting back watching Esau pick cotton and be like, yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get for doing that thing to these strapping young chaps, these chocolate men. You get it. You better pick that cotton for the black man. You better do it. You better pick it for him. We're gonna be looking at her like, yeah, and you better as well. What are you talking about? Yeah, you as well. You talking to? Yeah, you and all, man. You get in there too. What are you talking about? Thanks for the cheerleading speech, but you're going in as well. What are you about? You think this is halftime at the Crown Vic? You're going in there as well, man. Ain't gonna be no half stepping out here. Oh, female rights activists. That's not gonna be happening. And the Israelite woman's gonna be the only one sitting back with a pina colada and a mojito. She'll be sitting back, relaxing and chilling, because in this society right now, she's catching hell. And we know that you Israelite women are catching hell out here. We know. And the main reason why we're angry with you is because we've tried to tell you and warn you on what's to come. And every time we do, you spiritually spit in our face and look at us like we ain't this and we ain't that. So we're like, you know what then? To hell with y'all. We'd much rather the Israelite woman be on point and we'd just vibe with you. Like, you would all find, if all you Israelite women never betrayed us once in your lives, you would have found that the Israelite man would have been prepared to jump in front of a moving train for you if he needed to. But how y'all have did it, that's not the case. But let's carry on seeing some of these more double standards, man. It says workplace, an employee may be punished for being late, while a manager who's also frequently late is not disciplined. Now, that's true as well. And even in this society, you have this thing in the scripture where it says, when a rich man speaketh, everyone listens to him and wants to know what he's going to say. When a poor man speaks, people ain't trying to hear that, right? But Yahweh deals with double standards, though. Because there's certain people that have sinned in this world that are of a thing that he is called his elect, right? And they're going to have sinned. And they're an Israelite. And their sins are going to be forgiven. Now, there's going to be other people that are Israelites and they've did less sins maybe than another Israelite. And guess what? They're not going to be forgiven because they're not of his elect. Now, they're going to be forgiven in the long term. But when the day of the Lord is actually active, forgiveness at that point is going to be short term Are you getting on the chariots in the day of the Lord, or are you not getting on the chariots? If you're not getting on the chariots, then your short-term forgiveness is not there. Your long-term forgiveness is there because you're an Israelite in general. But that's a double standard, because if you're of the elect, you get a certain extra mercy than a non-elect member of Israel, because you get to then become immortal and witness the beginning of the kingdom and every other infinity of the kingdom after that. You get to witness the whole of the kingdom getting built, man. You know how crazy that's going to be? To really see this world. Like, just picture how it is when you go past, like, if you ever went past a building site, right? And you're like, man, they're doing building, and it starts off and it's just dirt on the ground. They're leveling off the ground. And then you start to gradually just see the structure of the thing. You're like, raw, they did that, man. You start actually appreciating construction work. You're like, man, they really hooked that up, man. You start be like, man, they're bringing the cranes and all that. And you're like, raw, they're doing it, man. And then you actually see the building made, and you're like, whoa. And then you see people in the building that was getting created. The people that are actually in the building, the employees, the staff, the customers and all that, they don't appreciate as much the kingdom or that building, to use this example. They don't appreciate the building as much. But the people that actually witnessed it as when it was first, the ground foundations, they appreciate it. Remember the land of Israel, when we read Ezekiel 39 and some other scriptures, I believe in Revelation 21, there's going to be so much bodies left in the land of Israel that the Israelites are going to have to, well, not the Israelites, workers are going to be putting marking points down to mark bones. Like, oh, we got a femur here, we got a fibula bone here, we got a humerus bone here, we got a clavicle and a mandible over here. Oh, there's a few patellas, a few leg bones, tibias, fibulas, got a few ankle bones over here, there's a few craniums over here. And the marking points are gonna stay there until the bones have been moved. And it's gonna go from that to there's gonna be buildings over the top of that, man. The people that are of the nation of Israel that are early stage are gonna know about all that stuff. They're gonna have got to actually see current day Edomites humbled in this body that they're in now, under the name that they're in now, getting humbled and realizing that they're an Edomite and that they have to accept it. They're not going to have to see, oh, that's Mr. 47 in the reincarnation. No, they're going to see Mr. 47 in the now and now nation. They're going to see him in the now form, man. And they're going to see certain Kangol wearers with glasses getting humbled and be like, yeah, what are you saying now? Are you an Edomite? Are they done away with? What are you saying? Is what scriptures this that says you was going to go through? Is this the secret church resurrection? Like, all the current loudmouths of Esau, the elect are gonna get to see them fall, man. And there's gonna be some Israelites that are born that don't ever see an Edomite. So they've missed out on a certain part of our glory of seeing our enemy fall, man. That's a glory. Let's carry on. Relationships. A partner might demand complete transparency regarding their significant other spending, but refuse to be transparent about their own finances. Well, this isn't necessarily a thing that I can even apply to anything in the scriptures that I can think of at the top of my head. Social life, a person may believe it is acceptable for them to flirt with others, but get upset if their partners are the same. Now, that's a thing that women do. Women are and this is covetous. Women are very covetous towards other men, right? If a woman's walking on the street and she sees a man with a nice car, or she goes online and sees a man in nice things in the world, or she watches a TV show, reality TV, and she sees a man doing this and a man doing that, she starts thinking, oh, wow, look at all that stuff. And she don't start thinking about how she can get that. She starts to think, man, if that man was attracted to me, then I'd have access to that life as well. And just start coveting after that life. And start thinking, man, why can't my man get that for me? But then she don't want us as men, right, to look at our women and be like, you know what? That woman that I saw the other day was fine as hell. And that woman that I saw the other day was fine as hell too. And that woman the other day was fine as hell. And that woman there can cook real nice, man. She's like a gourmet chef. Man, if I was with that woman, she'd be cooking for me like that. And start looking sideways at our women. Women don't want us to do that. And that's why when women are in anywhere public, right, and they're with their man, if a handsome man shows up, that a man that they think is handsome shows up, they start turning their body language away from him. They start wanting to not talk to their man, to try and in their mind pretend for a few minutes and seconds that they're not with anyone. And people can try and make it like what I'm saying right now don't make sense. It happens, man. This is real. When a beautiful woman shows up in the same scenario, these women start overly wanting to talk to their man now, running their mouth. That's how it goes, man. They want to start talking now, running their mouth and all that. Double standards. This is the double standards, man. But Yahweh's got double standards as well. Because Yahweh said that we can do usury interest on a loan to a heathen, but we can't do interest or usury on another Israelite, man. We're not allowed to do that. We're not supposed to do that. But Yahweh's got double standards, man. He's put more favor in an Israelite than anybody else. And he's even more favor in a member of the elect parenting. A mother stays home to raise her children is seen as her duty, but a father who takes on the same role may receive extra praise for doing less. Let's read that again. A mother who stays home to raise her children is seen as doing her duty, but a father who takes on the same role may receive praise for doing less. Now, part of that's true, right? But then there's also a mockery in this world that a man's given towards such things, right? Men are actually mocked for stuff like that, and women actually, like, if you was to check some of these birth certificates, right, of some of these children in this world, there's gonna be, for the mom section, stay at home mom is as an occupation, when that's not a job. It's not a job, right? But there's no such job. You wouldn't see no such thing as stay at home dad as considered an occupation, man. That's not considered a thing. And these are all just different ways that women try and make themselves feel better. But there's not nothing wrong with a woman raising her children and staying at home. There's not nothing wrong with that. But they think that that's insulting. But then they think it's insulting to do that. But then it's not insulting to go and work for a company and you're living paycheck to paycheck now. That's not insulting. But it's insulting for them to have a man that actually can afford to earn that salary that they have 5 times over, so that they don't even have to go to work, and that technically now they're getting access to 3 times the salary because they're with a man that makes that. That's insulting. Or obviously telling me I've got to just stay at home and look after my child. Well, don't you want to look after your child? Like, wouldn't you want to look after them? Ain't you actually being given physiological gifts to help you be able to look after them? A mother can sleep right next to her child, right, and breastfeed them while she's sleeping. Moms can literally breastfeed their child while they're sleeping. Fathers can't do that. So the mom's literally given extra gifts to make a parent easier. She can breastfeed the child, so she can become connected to the child early on through breastfeeding. Whereas if the male parent had some kind of mechanism in himself that he could give the child food from his own body, he would be able to easily a parent, but he doesn't have that because Yahweh didn't want him to be able to do it like that, man. It's just the truth. But people get bothered by the double standards, and this video is not about these earthly double standards. It's about how Yahweh has got double standards with how he treats the Israelites, man. And people don't want to accept this, but it's true. He's even got double standards with how he treats Israelites against Israelites, man. There's double standards in this life. Everything's not fair, right? And I'm going to end the lesson there. Shalom to the nation of Israel. Shalom.